Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be working on Lil Red today. Seth has bought him some LED pod lights that goes right here. We're going to put the brackets on, get those pod lights installed, and then we'll run the wiring last. That's what we're going to be doing today, so let's get to it. These little brackets come with these little pads that keep it from scratching your paint if you ever want to remove them. Alright, do that other one while we're doing it. That had to be perfect. Now let's get these bolts out right here. Now he's got to remove these two bolts. We had already broken those loose just to make sure we could get them loose before we actually started doing this. That wasn't too bad. Alright, this new bracket kit came with its own set of bolts, so we're going to put those in. Alright, there's no way to get these confused. They only fit on their correct side because this hole has got to go on top. We'll leave a link to these down in the video description. Alright, that's one side. Let's go do the other side. Alright, so there's the second one on there, good and solid. Now we're ready to mount the pods and run the wires under the hood. Alright, here's the little pod lights we're going to put in. We've already got the bracket system on the bottom. It just simply goes down like that. It's got a washer and a lock nut. Alright, there's that one. I'm going to tighten these up now. Alright, and now I've just got that wire tucked down in there. I'm going to get rid of this tag. Like I said, I'm not going to run these for just a little bit, maybe a day or two, but when I come back and have both these installed, we'll be running the wires.
Three days later.
We've got to come up with a way to run these wires, so I'm going to take the metal cowling off up here, and I've got an idea of what I want to do. Alright, Seth, lay it all the way back. You just about got hit in the head. Alright guys, here's why I was drilling holes in the cowl. We drilled a hole and I put a rubber grommet in there, and we're going to pass the wire through that rubber grommet. I installed it on this one to make sure I had the right size drill bit. I drilled a small pilot hole to start with, and then the final hole I drilled was a 23/64. And I'll install this one on camera for you. I was just making sure the other one did work out right. This is the cleanest way that I knew to do that. And I went to Lowe's, of course, and got the appropriate size grommet. It's a Hillman. And let's see here. I don't know if you can make out the part numbers and stuff, but I'll leave a link to this down in the description of the video, along with the pod lights. So this hole right here is a 1/4 inch hole, and my pod light wires are 0.23 something, which is just smaller than a 1/4 inch. So I believe with me having to compress that to get it in the hole, that would make that hole just the exact right size. And if Seth ever decides to get rid of this Jeep, we can, well, the next owner, if he don't want the pod lights up, he can take the pod lights down, he can take these grommets out, and he can just put a rubber plug in those holes, and it'll look factory. So I just thought this was the cleanest look I could get, rather than running wire a long way or running it behind this and maybe getting it cut on these hard edges right here. So this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that one. This other one is over here in the sun. I know you can see it. Just goes straight in. We haven't got any of this bolted down, but it fits perfect. Be a watertight fit. Not that it matters, water gets in that part anyway. So now all we got to do is run the extra wires, get the wiring harness going, and put the toggle switch inside the cab, and we'll be done.
Several days later.
I know y'all realize by now this is a really clean look, but it does pose its own set of problems. I know my audience is very intelligent when it comes to Jeeps. So the problem that you will have if you do a setup like this right here is, if you get ready to fully remove this cowl right here, you can't, because you have a wire connected to this light that goes all the way through and connects to the harness. There's no break in that wire. So in order to fix that, on the inside of the cowl here, you would have to put a plug, so you could unplug the wire and then pull this out of the cowl. And we will probably do that at some point. We're not going to do it right now. We've left enough slack in there. We can raise this cowl up, and it should meet every need that we ever have. The issue where you might want to take that all the way out is if, like, you was going to do a paint job on the Jeep, and this would need to come off and be painted separately. At that point in time, you would need a way of removing that wire, and I don't believe we're ever going to paint this Jeep. The paint looks good enough on it. So let's continue with the install. So this is what I was talking about. We left enough slack down in here that we can prop this up against the windshield, and it's totally out of the way, and we can work. We've got to figure out what we're going to do with the wiring harness in here. We're going to leave the biggest part of the wiring harness inside the valley right here, up high enough that if it comes a downpour, it won't get it wet. We ran from that pod light to this pod light behind all of the windshield wiper linkages and stuff. So all right, and we're going to pigtail onto these wires and come through the firewall and go to the battery right here under the hood. All right, so I'm fixing to show you kind of what I do to get my ends crimped on tight. I could easily pull that end off right there. It's not secure at all. So what I do is I take a butane torch and I get my solder ready. Heat causes things to flow. It's hard to do this with a soldering iron, so I just heat the eyelet itself. right there, and that will never come loose. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. I put 2 more grommets through the firewall, one for the big wire going into the cab that's going to the toggle switch. These 2 right here are going to the battery. It says let's lower this hood. I put the relay up here to keep it out of any rainwater that we get down in there, because this will never be level with water because it's got this big hole here. It's got the drain over there. Our drain's good and open, so I believe this is a good safe place for that. It would have to rain plumb sideways to get water directly on that. So we got all the wiring done outside. Now we're going to go into the cab. We've got to take the center part of the air vents off so we can get down to where the toggle switches live. And then we're going to put the toggle, we're not using the toggle switch. It came with a harness, which is this one right here. Seth got a factory style toggle switch that goes in the home location in the center console or under the radio. This actually took us way too long. I spread this job over several days just because I hate wiring. I don't like wiring and having to try to make everything look nice and neat. Let me cut these on now and let you see what they look like. So that's what they look like. They're very bright. I know the lighting's gonna be terrible, but in here is where we put his switch in the factory location. Factory style switch. Well guys, I made this job take me quite a bit longer than it should have had. Over several days, actually over probably a week and a half, just because I hate to wire anything. Seth loves his lights. I'd rather fix mechanical failures or things that needs to be fixing, but anyway, I got this done with him, and now we're done with this job, and we still have more things to put on like this, and that'll come up in some future episodes. I appreciate y'all stopping by week after week and watching. Appreciate the comments. Y'all just stay tuned for things we have coming through the pipeline. If you'll cut your notification bell on, you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you're watching and you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Appreciate y'all. Y'all come back next time. We'll see what we got going.